Thanks everyone for joining us for Beyond Mobile First, Exceeding Expectations and Transforming Maintenance. We're so happy to have you here. Before we get started, I'd like to get some housekeeping out of the way. We are recording this session, and you'll receive a link to that recording probably tomorrow. So please feel free to forward that to those that missed today's presentation. And then if you have any questions during the webinar, please put it in the Q&A box found at the bottom of your screen. I kind of missed the ones in the chat, so if you could focus on the Q&A button, that would be awesome. Before we officially get started, I want to introduce our speaker, Ricardo Carmona Mercano. Ricardo is in charge of designing and building and operating compressed natural gas stations and related facilities to generate an orderly and organic growth for the industry in Mexico. Since 2017, he's overseen the implementation and ongoing facilitation of Upkeep. And when he's not working, he's at home watching his favorite team, whichever team has the most Venezuelans on it, on ESPN. So it's my pleasure to introduce Ricardo. Ricardo, if you want to show your video, and here he is.
Hello, Victoria, good morning. How are you?
Fantastic.
All right, so welcome to this webinar. I'm going to try to explain who is Netgas and what we are doing. Netgas is a company that is operating and designing and building CNG stations. Those are natural gas stations to serve vehicles, right? So at this moment, we have already more than 16 locations where, like this one in the picture, where you can refill vehicles. It could be light duty, heavy duty. And of course, one of the big parts of this very recent startup that goes back only until 2014, it's the maintenance part. So it's really interesting, and I'm going to start talking to you about this, how it is kind of developing. But we actually do mostly of the maintenance ourselves, but also we have some contractors, right? That also we commission them to go ahead and do some part of maintenance. They're really partners to all of our development. And we have multiple equipment. We have some compressors, we have dispensers, we have pipelines, we have many different interesting electrical components, and it's really important to have this setup, right? So I'm gonna tell you the story of how did I get into Upkeep and why did I started to look at Upkeep. I got here in 2016, and in 2016, the moment the company was already doing maintenance with the team already had a couple years working, and there was some software running. Okay. And at that point, I believe that when I got here in Mexico, I just find out that nothing was working in one specific manner. So I had some technicians actually doing work orders and putting them on binders. I had some technicians trying to work with Excel, and I had some technicians that were like this really like savvy ones. They were handling or working with a CMMS at that time that was kind of in the development. So I had like 3 stages of the different situation. So I got into looking at what tool could I use. So I had 3 topics that I needed that application. I knew that I needed that software and application. But what does it have to be? How does it have to, or how specifically it has to be designed? So one of the first things I needed and I wanted was that I could connect this software with other applications. I mean, even before having this new tool, I wanted it to be connected because I was working with other platforms at that time, dashboarding and many other resources, and I knew that was needed. And if you are in 2020 and you are not connecting your platforms, you are doing something wrong. So that was I had that in mind, and I know that this can be done through APIs. And for those of you that doesn't know what an API is, it's an interface that connects maybe your ERP or your CRM, your different systems that can talk to each other. And that when I saw that Upkeep in 2016, 17, they had already the documentation for the APIs and had it all, even in the early parts of Upkeep, they had it already. I knew that was something that I needed. The other thing that I was looking for was that it was a mobile first application. That's one of the features that you are looking for, that you kind of understand that is needed. You need for your technicians to be able to pull up their and work there from there. And the story here is that I think that I was about missing about 50% of the work orders at that moment because they were not getting uploaded even when I had this other platform. But this other platform mobile application didn't work. Even the desktop application, it was not friendly to use. So it was difficult. I needed that mobile first application. And that's one of the features I found in Upkeep is a recent application specifically developed to be operated on mobile. And that triggered the second part or the second thing that I needed, right? And I knew that the technicians would be like having this transition to from paper or desktop to mobile, but I could handle that. I thought I could handle that. And the third part, maybe it's kind of funny, but I wanted to be able to opt out anytime that I want. And let me try to explain this. When I had that other old application, I could see that it was hard for me to get all the information, extract all the few work orders that were uploaded there to get them, to get the data, to get the registers of what was being done so far. So I needed that. If it was going to be Upkeep, I needed to be easy to leave Upkeep whenever I wanted. So I needed to export data as quick as I wanted. Don't leave anything like completely like held me hostage for some situation or anything. And that I learned that Upkeep it's completely open in that sense. You can download all your work orders in this file, the CSV file, as full as you are uploading information. You can download it anytime you want. You can migrate. And that openness, it's a sign of confidence on their product, and they don't want to tie you to any time or anything. They're just developing this product, and that just finished the deal for me. And I started the testing, right? So then started this process of how all our technicians can go and evolve. And here's where it starts to where I start to think beyond mobile, right? So in the first part that I say beyond mobile, it's because I need to connect the different systems. All right. So why was I connecting? What was I connecting in that moment? For instance, I have a database where I keep all my electrical bills, the metadata, the data inside the consumption, the let's say if you have peak hours, all the data that it's being logged, for example, in electrical bills, in gas supplier bills, in my transactional and sales systems, I have them in silos, and I started to connect them with my maintenance. And through doing that, I was actually getting ahead of the reporting of the whole maintenance unit, because the maintenance unit needed to report how our maintenance operations according to the sales that we have. For example, if we have how many corrective maintenance per vehicle that we serve are we having, that data needed reporting. And through connecting this, I was telling my managers and my team, all right, don't spend time on reporting. Let's make this one time, one report, and it's connected already. So if we need the report next week, it's going to come up immediately, and that transformed really the way that we were using time. The maintenance manager, I tell everybody that I need you to spend time on the right things, not on the important things, not spend time on Excel doing a report every week. That takes time, that takes effort, and that was one of the victories that I could have on that moment. And pretty cool thing. You just need the APIs, and at the beginning, like if you were developing an Excel file and you are connecting and doing the formulas, and that's kind of the hard part. But after that, it's all super easy to handle, and there are many things that you can do with very little, let's say, investment, because this application is already fit for Connect. The second part of the transformation was how to and the I have this specific, let's say, technician that actually was not having a good time with the older applications before Upkeep, and I knew that he didn't want to go software. He wanted to go paper all the time, and it was hard for us to think about this. And in this case, what I tried to do was put a key in his hands, and I knew that if he could champion the idea, the rest of the team would perform great. So not only that, when Upkeep started rolling with our team, I got surprised that he was actually the main person that was all over Upkeep, and just suggesting things to the support team at Upkeep, suggesting things to our planner, to ourselves, and he was really into the application because it was so easy to use. It was nothing else. It was that the usability was really great. And then I started to use this in this part of motivating the team. I started to use a really cool thing, and I want you to I will invite you to do this. And the Upkeep team is working on this really hard, uh, because I put this television on in our main office, our headquarters, and that's the place where they gather every day. And I put there not only the information that you can do right now with a link from Upkeep, but I extracted the data to start processing, right? And I put the pictures of them, and underneath you could see when once you got every day to the office, they could see how many work orders they had open, they had closed over the last week, and how many work orders are in progress right now. So they could see exactly what was happening. Even the plant that is stays in the office can see. All right, he closed that one, and he had 7. Now he closed the 8th one, and it was pretty cool. But even beyond that, I could start grabbing the data from Upkeep and start doing this really interesting tables to kind of apply some system and kind of score system if they completed a work order in the time that it was meant to be. So if they had to finish a work order at 11 a.m. And they finished before, they got like 100 points. And if they did it 1 hour later, the points were going to start dropping, maybe 50, 20. And I started to give them score automatically using the API, because you get all the data, what time the order was, what time it was open, whatever data and time, how do you say that? Like the timestamps are there for you to use them. So I did in this system, they could see the scores of that month. And I did this really amazing thing to motivate the team. And the person that had the highest score, because they completed a lot of work orders on time, they will receive an extra day off the next month. And the whole team was really into it. It was a really good experience, and we was monitored on site. It was super good experience. I would recommend you to start thinking beyond what actually you can see through the Upkeep screens. That is great, but you can go beyond that whatever way you want. The third part that we started to develop was how we were handling, of course, our work orders, and the main thing to highlight here is that we were missing a lot of data before. Not only at the beginning, of course, that was kind of the hard work, but it took like 3 weeks since then in 2017, and we have already 3 years fully running. And I can assure you that there is not a single work that gets done that our technicians are not uploading it to Upkeep. It's been really an interesting experience. All the team that request even the works from the operations at the stations, they see something that is wrong, they report it. They have the protocol. They do it through Upkeep, and the things are working. You get all the data from all the work orders for them to analyze, of course, whatever way that you need. But the cool thing is that nothing is getting past Upkeep, and of course we are now enhancing that with the meters and all the data points, the pressures, the temperatures that we are registering, the time between failures. It's all there for us to analyze. That's the important thing of this transformation. And I want to talk to you about also about final results. Once that we had this application running, we're going beyond what is mobile. And I want to share with you a couple of tools or outcomes, let's say. One of them is that actually, as a result of this, of applicating Upkeep the right way, the right protocols, of course, as I was mentioning, and putting the people to do this work of thinking, of analyzing instead of reporting paper, we got to reduce our corrective maintenance. The proportion between corrective and preventive was about 50-15 work orders, and we got to reduce the preventive the maintenance to only about 20% of all work right now. We have around 20% only that are corrective, because we leave a lot of equipment. I mean, we tend to, it's unpredictable to know when it, so we can still get this corrective, but it dropped dramatically in our situation. That's one of the cool things. And we've been able to tackle some of the issues with the data, and even at some points, data that we didn't know that we needed or that we could get out of the system. But one of the things that you actually, if you are looking, I mean, we were actually having a problem with that. It's like a secondary equipment of one of our secondary equipment, or one of the secondary parts of one of our secondary equipment. So it doesn't have an asset specifically for it, or something like that, or I could check. But even with that, let's say disadvantage, that was tiny part. Once that had a couple tool, and I could request a technician, right, look up every single situation that this valve has been involved in all of our 16 stations. So the report was done super quick, and then we started to change from active maintenance for that specific valve to a preventive maintenance for a number of hours. So it was done super quick. This type of actions, of making decisions when you have the data, it's super simple to do them, and that's one thing I'm proud of with the results. The second one is the enhanced reporting, and this is really important. I've been able to showcase with our superiors and our directors uh, how is the work that these technicians are doing. It doesn't have to be to go under and done that. When you have the data available every moment, you can even enhance that, get bigger results. One example I want to give you here, it's that, for example, uh, we let one simple thing that the reporting can do. Once we had this dashboard, we could see how, for example, the electrical consumption was tied to the number of maintenance and what maintenance was done. So I'm going to tell you this little anecdote. I had this reporting on electrical consumption for equipment, and I saw this has nothing to do with Upkeep, but it's in this dashboard, and I see that this equipment started to get more consumption. And I clicked to the next screen with or the maintenance that was done on that same month. And I, when the thing started to change, and I saw a work order, and I immediately called my manager and I said, you know what? There was a change in the consumption, but there was a work order done this week specifically. It kind of matches. Can you check on this? And having that data tied together helped me to find out that there was some modification that one of our contractor had done on our equipment that it started to mess up with the consumption of the station. And that was spotted so quickly because you had this enhanced reporting when you got the connected systems, and you can spot things immediately. You can cross-reference them, and that is that saves us a lot of money. In that case, it saved us quite a big, like 20% of our electrical bill for that month, for the next month to come, and we spot it super quickly. The third part, it's of course the ease of use. I mean, uh, we don't lose any time at all with this mobile first application. When I have a technician that was doing uh, one of the things that surprised me is I had technicians that were doing a lot of work orders, a lot more work orders than before, because actually we were spending time. We had like maybe one day dedicated specifically for them to upload all the information and kind of go through Excel or to the software that we had before. Spend almost a day, full day, getting the data because I knew that we were going to be needing that. What we instead then, rather than stay and upload things, we were analyzing. So we could set up one uh, one free day just to analyze data and check the graphs. I mean, imagine a technical team that could get together proactively to check all the meters, all the graphs of pressures and temperatures of different locations, just to say, all right, we're good here. Next location, all right, we're good here. All right, can you spot something? Yeah, I see a trend. I can analyze this, and doing all this through data because you have some time to spare on this specific analysis. It's really super important. And to wrap up this short intervention, I want to invite you to think beyond what you guys are doing and are implemented. If you have Upkeep already, if you don't have Upkeep, but think beyond what you can do because the tools are there. This specific software, as any software that I'm constantly looking for any problem, needs to be connected. You need to think that have that stack based way of thinking, and you can export in the smart way, export data, transform data, uh, motivate the team. There are so many things that you can do. That's the message and kind of the main conclusion I want to give you. Think beyond what you can see, connect all the dots, connect every software, and you will get great outcomes. Thank you.
Amazing, Ricardo. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And that, wow, being able to save 20% of your electric bill by finding that mistake is super impactful. So thank you so much, folks. We're willing to take Q&A for a bit, and if you have any questions for Ricardo, we're taking them now in the Q&A button found at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so first question is, what's the most difficult thing you've experienced with working with APIs? That's a good question.
All right. So the most difficult thing of working with APIs could be to understand the whole situation. I mean, understand how to collect data from one source and maybe process it to the second. But what I would recommend you to do in those cases is just to find this expert in that. Actually, that it's not rocket science. It's not super hard, but you can find this expert colleague that you have in hand and develop these connections. Are really simple. Once they are done, you can move along. But that was one of the difficult things because I wanted to get data and it was kind of in this format, and I wanted to lock it in through the second software. And once that I got a hold of my colleague that helped me to connect and always contact support, because the Upkeep team is super interested in you to play around with these tools. Ask them how to do it because they were really helpful. And ask the other platform, for if you have a dashboard platform, ask them how to connect. Show them the specifics of each other software, and the solution it could be a couple days away to connect and start seeing things different. That will be my suggestion for tackling that hard part.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricardo. Next question is, what types of metrics do you report on?
All right. Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, in our Upkeep, what we extract from Upkeep, we had that really interesting work orders per technician. We had per category, of course. But then, with the use of meters on Upkeep, we actually are reporting pressures, temperatures. Let's say we have one big equipment per fueling station. We have their interstate pressures, 4 or 5 sensors, temperatures, 4 to 5 sensors. We have their, for example, we also have, we have mostly between 8 pressure sensors and meters, and 8 temperatures that we are constantly reporting. So that having that, the important part is that you can report on average, for example, and cross them with other data, with our sales. I commonly do that. I connect how is our sales numbers with our actually work orders meters and that. But we actually are going beyond that. I'm connecting also budget information about how much I'm spending in one station or in the other, and I can compare that with the work orders, with the corrective maintenance. I can really get an association going there and work with those meters.
Fantastic. Ricardo, thank you so much for joining us today. We are just about out of time, so I don't think we have any more time for questions. If you asked a question, we'll be happy to get back to you, and we'll send those via email. But thank you, Ricardo, for joining us today, and thank you, folks, for joining us. Super excited to start this Customer Best Practices webinar series. This is our second one. We have another one coming up next Friday with Certaris. They're going to be talking about their Samsara integration, so I'll be sending that invitation in the follow-up email that you'll receive about this webinar. So, Ricardo, thank you so much for joining us. Super interesting story. We really, really appreciate it. And everyone have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.